Hello and welcome back to the Pitch Science Podcast channel. I'm your host, the HOD of the PSP. Like, share and subscribe. Of course, to the channel, follow us on social media and all of that. And we're coming to you with some breaking news, I suppose, in the world of football as officially as of today. Roman Abramovich, Chelsea's club owner, has been sanctioned by the UK government with immediate effect, and these sanctions of course involve all of his assets and his properties and everything he owns in the UK, and that includes of course what we're going to talk about, Chelsea Football Club. That means in immediate effect that his assets will be freezed in that club, that he won't be able to manufacture or do any action with that club, no selling, no buying, whatever. Of course, he put the club up for sale. He can't do that at the moment. The only solution around it, according to all reports, is that he allows the government to have the final say in that. Basically lets the government take over the whole operation of selling Chelsea Football Club. Reportedly, the fee for that club is about £3 billion as a whole package, which means, of course, has other repercussions on the club. They won't be able to do any sort of contract signing for new players. They can't buy new players. They can't make any sort of big decision financially or in terms of big impactful decisions at the club at the moment without the consent of the United Kingdom government. The solution for Chelsea at the moment, it seems that they will be sort of working and looking for a special license from the UK government that will be available and running until the 31st of May 2022, unless it is revoked, renewed, or the club is sold altogether after the end of that period. Of course, as I mentioned, the club will never be able to buy new players at the moment or even enter negotiations for new players. There will be no merchandise sale for the club, but allowed only season ticket holders will be available and able to go to the games at the Stamford Bridge. Obviously now this throws the whole club in disarray. Like, it's not just about the fact that the club will be sold and that's it. Now there's going to be a whole big legal sort of problem now for the club, how it's going to be run, the day-to-day operations. We know these operations are run by Bruce Park and Marina Granovskaya and the assistants as well in the board of Chelsea that run the day-to-day operations while Roman Abramovich is away and has been banned basically from entering the United Kingdom since 2017, had problems with his visa and passport and all of that. Another way around it, for people expected that he will use his Israeli citizenship to try and get around the repercussions and the banning that he's receiving in the UK, but it looks like the sanctions that were put in place by the UK government are going to have much more deeper impact on the club than first expected. So, to recap, the club won't be able to be sold. The merchandise they can't sell any merchandise, no shirts whatsoever. They can't run any contract negotiations without the consent of the government, and apparently, I'm sure they will try and look for that special license to be imposed and to be applied and in effect on the club until the end of the season at the very least, where they will try and sort this out and maybe will be able to sell the club. I think this will maybe accelerate the process of selling the club because of the legal boundaries and the problems that are going to be caused and the whole fracas. There's going to be big shambles, I think, in terms of running the club's operation if it's not sold in these next 2 months, depending on the perspective. It's a really big deal for Chelsea. These sanctions on Roman Abramovich, all of a sudden the club finds itself without an owner, and also potentially is going to be under the control of the government for a while until they find a new owner. Obviously, that comes, of course, on the back of the situation in Ukraine, which is still going on, despite Roman Abramovich being reportedly a mediator for peace and being someone who tries to be charitable to the victims of war in Ukraine, but his ties, I think, with the Kremlin and reportedly some dirty business that the UK government is accusing him to have in the UK are one main reasons behind these sanctions. I wonder if these sanctions would have happened or would even be considered without the war in Ukraine, but maybe, again, as it is by the process of selling the club, maybe the process of sanctioning Roman Abramovich was accelerated and was really helped, I would say, in a perverse sense by the war on Ukraine. Hopefully for Chelsea fans, the club will be sorted out pretty quickly, because that's a bad situation for a side that just won the Champions League last season, that knew their best years under Roman Abramovich since the takeover in 2003. I mean, they've been through their fair share of problems. They had a ban, of course, on transfers in 2019, but this is nothing similar to what they're witnessing at the moment. This is, I think, in other clubs would be a complete collapse for the club, but I think Chelsea, I suppose they're a much bigger brand than most clubs in Europe or in England. I mean, bar a few elite clubs, I think Chelsea should be good. And should be fine at the moment for the next 2 months at least, until they sort themselves out and find a new owner. That's it for the video. I tried to just recap what happened quickly. Obviously, I'll hopefully get a chance to talk about it more maybe on Monday's episode, because tomorrow I'm doing the weekend preview. I don't have a lot of time to talk about the situation, so I'll leave it to Monday hopefully, and we'll get to it. In much more, not details, but much more opinion, hopefully, on that episode. Until then, like, share, comment what you think of the situation, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, of course. Enable notifications to receive the updates from these kind of videos and all the content on the channel, and of course, follow us on social media. Always avoid the HOD of the PSP, and until next time, I will see you soon. Goodbye.
Behind closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.